Markets are down. GDP print. Let's get this money, gentlemen. So a lot of companies have reported earnings that are okay, but they're very worried about the future. In particular, their internet advertising market seems to be falling apart. Snap said that Shein and Temu were pretty big supporters of internet advertising, and now they're kind of coming back. So Applovin is down a bunch as well. I don't know if I'm happy. I have more energy, and yes, maybe it's because I'm short. I'm short everything. Yeah, Pharma will always catch a bid on the defensiveness. Booking down, Starbucks down, Snapchat down, even Visa, who had good numbers, down. SMCI down on a huge miss. Shein, SHEIN. So you have the GDP print. No treatments really work well for Alzheimer's, unfortunately. Yeah, it's earnings season, lots of stuff going on. I don't use stop losses too much. I try not to have my portfolio that exciting. I'm not sure on LVMH. The market's going to change pretty rapidly here. S&P down 1.5%. I don't know about increasing the MicroStrategy position. I mean, bear market is definitely what we're in store for. No doubt about that. I'm surprised we had the big rally back. I'm not short pharma. I wouldn't be short too much pharma. Bitcoin's a miracle. The resilience is incredible. I'm short MicroStrategy, or just strategy. Let's look at most. NVIDIA's traded the most. Just type most on Godel. Snap down 16% on 6 million shares, warning that advertising revenue will be slow. Temu and Shein, two Chinese companies bailing out of internet advertising. It's going to be a pretty dark Q2. Palantir down 5% on 4 million shares. Intel down 3% on 3 million shares. SoFi down 5% as well as Plug Power on 3 million shares. NEO down 5% as well on 2 million shares. Pfizer, defensive stock, up 1% on 2 million shares. Micron down 4% on 2 million shares. Starbucks, earnings report last night, not inspiring, down 10% on 2 million shares. HIMS, after a huge announcement with Novo yesterday, down 3% on 2 million shares. Norwegian Cruise Lines down 9% on 2 million shares. Citigroup down 2% on almost 2 million shares. Big Bear down 6% on 2 million shares. Robinhood down 5% on 1.5 million shares. Microsoft, Walmart, Apple down slightly on 1 million shares. D-Wave down 4% on 1 million shares. Carousel short report yesterday. Carousel, one of the few hedge funds, up handsomely this year so far. Last I heard, up almost 20% from what I understand. Abbott Labs flat on 1 million shares. Grab at American Airlines also down slightly. All right, any gainers today? Tenable down 17%. Applovin down 15%. Sell-side analysts lowering estimates, mostly based on the Snap results. So what's bad for Snap is probably bad for Applovin. Bausch & Lomb down 14%. First Solar down 12%. Lending Club, we mentioned Starbucks. Guidewire down 9%. Software company. Freeport down 7%. Large cap mining company. Dell down 7%. Taiwan Semi bucking a bit, only down 50 basis points. Could be a short here as NVIDIA and Supermicro are plummeting. Why not Taiwan Semi, right? Alibaba up 50 basis points. Go figure. It'll be interesting. What a day. What a time to be alive. I love it. The expectations for GDP were right around in line, to be honest. This wasn't that much of a surprise. I think their earnings are probably the bigger surprise than the GDP. The market was already kind of rolling over before the GDP print. Yeah, I'm not sure what Microsoft, what's going to happen there. Yeah, short interest is, so you're talking about the borrow rate. I factored in a little bit. I mean, it's not the most important thing to me. THTX is in sort of an M&A mode. Folks don't want to do M&A in bad market environments like this. So let's see if anybody, I don't mind crowded shorts now. Let's go Montgomery, Alabama. Chatting with IonQ, potentially going to do a big transaction together. I don't know if I'd buy hood calls. I wonder if the market will be resilient. I think there's going to be some expectation that speculators in the market might get washed out and stop speculating. Volumes can drop 50% for one of these companies. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they will, but it's something that I'd be concerned about if I was trading Robinhood. I only have margin accounts. Come on, bro. I'm not less optimistic. I just, it's something to keep in mind. Yeah, Fannie and Freddie, it's a popular trade. Market's due for a down day. Market's due for a down month or two. Maybe down a year or two. 𝗦𝗏𝗧𝗏 is here. Good morning, 𝗦𝗏𝗧𝗏. Once again, I offer you $500 to call in later today. Cash, crypto, IonQ shares, whatever you want, buddy. Think about it. If IonQ becomes the next NVIDIA, that's $1 million I'm giving you. It's a good deal, man. 15 minutes of phone time is only for 𝗦𝗏𝗧𝗏. Next time we short something, I don't want you guys to be fake baggies. You gotta be real. I can tell the difference. You know why 𝗦𝗏𝗧𝗏 won't take up that deal. He doesn't want to be embarrassed, but I'll be gentle. Just gonna ask you a couple probing questions. Just a little gentle exam. I learned this trick in prison. I might sell Meta, but other than that, I mean, everything's looking good. I'm up 1.5% on this account you guys had me make. Market maker account's up. You know, same old stuff as I've been saying for what, almost a year now. Buy your favorite stocks, short the dumb stocks. Ain't that hard. I get more capital running the market maker than in the small Schwab account. But I don't know if I want to add capital or not. We'll see. Let's buy down 2% here. The funny thing is, when the market moves big like this, you really do nothing. It doesn't change your positions very much. That's just beta. You know, you're hoping this is the time you're starting to capture some alpha. Your good stocks don't go down much. Trash like Quantum drops 5%. Way worse than the market because the market's coming to its senses. Now you have HIMS. We got to think about too. Do we want to buy back in? We sold yesterday on that big announcement. Yeah, exactly. I think they are going to report a great quarter too. It might upgrade their guidance for the whole year. Do they have a full year guidance? They may not. I don't remember. Only Teslas are exempt from auto tariffs. Huh. Tesla down 6% nevertheless. SMCI hanging in there. It just refuses to go down. Oh boy. I'm out of HIMS for this second. I mean, I do like the company. I do like the stock. I'm, considering, re-entering. But yeah, I mean, it's for good companies. It's best to not play games with entering and re-entering, and you miss great companies that way, like NVIDIA. I'm in because of the quarter or this or that. Man, it doesn't matter. You got a great management team, great company, great business. Just buy it and hold on. I don't know HIMS that well, to be honest. I mean, I think it is all those things, but don't die. Make sure you subscribe to 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏.com. We're actually running a special today if you prepay 6 months. So check that out. You get 10% off, but more importantly, way more importantly, you get immunity from price increases, which, as you guys may know, I'm a big fan of. I'm prone to take those price increases. Warren Buffett taught me to do that, and I never stopped. He said to me, "Sees Candy, well, I raise the price 7% every year, and my units don't go down. They go up." So I had 2 or 3% on volume, 5% on price, 7% on revenue, 10% earnings growth forever. Forever. I have a friend who's even bigger than me, man. He knows where Buffett is at all times. He's crazy. All right, I'll do some tricks on it. Send some of those CNBC girls over here. Yeah, that's what I like. Everybody, there's not a single person not using AI coding. I don't care who you are. Karpathy, Carmack, some of the best programmers in the world. The last guy in my office who only uses Linux, he does not have a Windows or Mac machine at all. Home, work, anywhere. The last guy, our best dev, he finally capitulated like a year ago, like 6 months to a year ago. He said, "I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to use AI coding. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at." He said, "All right, well, actually, this is pretty good." Pyramid schemes, when recessions happen, typically that's when it all goes. Look, I mean, we still have developers, so we can't vibe code everything. The jobs missed, the GDP number, and the earnings all pointing in one direction. Down. I don't know, Ramiro. I'm not your personal financial trader or advisor. You got to do you, man. I'm bearish. That's all I can give you. I'll name my kid IonQ for 100 mil. That's a better use of IonQ's money than anything else they're doing with it. I'm not even asking wifey. Surprise! It's IonQ. I mean, if you're an advertiser, you're taking those naming rights, right? Nah, wifey would understand. I ain't doing it without her okay, her green light. I mean, listen, he's allowed one bad stock pick. I think what I really want to stop bag holders from doing is having all their chips in one stock. As long as they have 5 or 10%, even 20%, as long as they can live to tell another day, at least they'll learn from it. You know, I just don't want these baggies to have 50 or 100%. Okay, so we'll look at Deutsche Telekom super fast. This is a German telecom company. I think it's their biggest. Was it T-Mobile? Oh man, this is going way back. It used to be AT&T Wireless. They had their own thing. Verizon Wireless had it was Vodafone. Thinking of Vodafone. Deutsche Telekom created T-Mobile. Deutsche Telekom was part of Deutsche Post, which still exists. Yeah, there have been larger deals since that deal. T-Mobile US is owned mostly by Deutsche. We are not buying SMCI, even though it looks quite strong. AOL Time Warner possibly, you know, could have been considered a bigger deal. So 31 euros. Deutsche Telekom has grown pretty steady, almost like a utility. Oh, these are percentages. So almost all their revenue is international. 75% international, 25% Germany. Only down 1.4, quite a comeback. All right, so free cash flow, net debt. Oh, wow. Holy moly. Net debt, 137 billion euros. Market cap's 153 billion euros. So I just want to make sure you guys understand this. I'll give you a quick lesson. I know you guys all know this. You know, it's imperative. And, you know, this is a euro stock. So everything I'm doing here is in this funny looking currencies. Is it like that? Do I get it like that? Okay. The share, sometimes they say in Europe, the share is trading for $31. We would say the shares are trading for $31 in the US. This is Deutsche Telekom. And there are 4.9 billion of these. So you have a very small piece of this pie. You know, when you're a kid, you get a pie and you learn a little bit about fractions when you look at the pizza pie. You got 8 slices, you got 1/8 of the pie. Well, this is a pizza. Get a little house in here, little table. This is a pizza pie with 4.9 billion slices. So quite a lot of slices here. Really thin slice. That's your slice. It costs 31 euros to buy a slice. So if you think about it, it sort of makes sense that if you multiply these, you get the value of the whole company. The whole is equal to the sum of its parts. I think that was either Aristotle or Euclid or both. So if you add all the parts, maybe you get the market cap, which is in this case, again, we draw the euro thing, 153 billion euros. Okay, cool. But when I buy one of these slices, or let's say I buy 10%, what would it cost? It would cost you $15 billion to buy 10%. 10% is a big stake. What if Buffett said, I want to buy 10% of Deutsche Telekom? He could do it. He has the cash. But what am I getting? What is this piece of this slice of a pie? What am I actually getting? In this case, Buffett would own, I don't know, let's put him in green here, but he would own, 10%-ish. Let's say this is 10%. That'd be Buffett. So you'd say, well, what does 10% get me? Well, you buy 10% of the shares outstanding. That means you own 10% of the assets of the company, but you also have the claims of the company. So one way to look at this is on a net cash basis or an enterprise value, which we often say is EV. This is really important because if you just look at market cap, that's up here, it'd be really misleading. These guys say they have 137 billion euros of debt, okay? And 153 billion euro market cap, which is what we calculated. So what does that mean? Well, it means that this company owes creditors, debt bondholders, $140 billion. So the earnings that the company makes, which we just looked at here, free cash flow, 24 billion. 24 billion they're going to make, and it's kind of like clockwork. The next year they're going to make 24 billion as well. Maybe it'll be a little bit more, maybe it'll be a little bit less, but year after year they're going to make 24 billion. The bondholders have the senior claim to this, right? The equity holder, the pie slice holder, is not senior. He's sort of junior to the senior debt. debt gets paid first. They get the money off the top. And so why would they issue so much debt? Maybe to buy back their stock or for whatever reason. But the year after, if they don't do anything else, this debt will get paid down and it'll be what, 113? And it'll sort of become like 90. Is it going to be 90 or is it going to be even 80, 89, I guess? Not even, right? Why can't I do this math? 24. That should be 89, right? Am I crazy? Etc. And eventually, I'll put these in parentheses for negative, but eventually it'll turn into positive. It'll be $24 billion and then 48, and they'll be in the green. But right now they're in this debt position. So what we do is we subtract the cash, market cap minus cash plus debt equals enterprise value. And why are we doing this? Well, we want to understand what the value of the enterprise is, because if all this debt were paid off, theoretically the market cap would rise. Does that make sense? To 290. That's the enterprise value. If it wasn't for this debt, it would be trading at what, 10 times, 11 times this cash flow, 12 times, I guess. But the debt's in the way, so they have to pay the debt down. And the opposite would have happened with cash, where you'd have to subtract the cash, because the enterprise is not worth what the cash is worth. It's worth what's left over. So by adding this debt back, you get to figure out what the actual enterprise is, because as they pay that debt down, the market should be willing to pay the same amount for that cash flow stream. Here's a stream, merrily, 24 billion a year. But instead of some of that going to the debt holder, less and less will go to the debt holder. So imagine they had zero in debt. Well, the market was willing to pay 290 before, so they'll pay 290 again, but it'll all go to the equity holders. So the share price will rise maybe to 62 or something, and the new market cap will be 300 billion, and your stock price will grow. So sometimes just paying off the debt is a very bullish thing for stock. So in any event, that's kind of what enterprise value is. If you don't understand that, I made other videos about it that are even more clear. Market is at 150. It's going to be an interesting day psychologically. Earnings don't look great. Bad economic data. Nothing to really cheer about on equities. Risks seem clearly to the downside. Market's also resilient. Yeah, so this is a relatively large amount of debt for Deutsche Telekom. And that's not uncommon at all, by the way, in telecom. AT&T and Verizon are also massively levered. So technically, if you rank the world's companies by enterprise value, right, Deutsche Telekom would actually go from number 61 to number 28. It would be the 28th biggest company in the world. I don't know that its capital intensive is irrelevant to the enterprise value. You can be capital intensive and have a boatload of cash. I think in their case, many of the telecom companies, their earnings are so predictable and so reliable that they can borrow huge amounts of money to buy back stock or build out new networks. And that is capital intensive, of course. But I think it's just popular because you have, all this cash flow you can count on. And why not take advantage of it? Your business isn't going to change. You're still, some of these companies, as you may know, AT&T, they've been around here 100 years. I mean, Verizon is just AT&T split, right? Verizon is a baby bell. All the baby bells, these guys have been around 150 years. They ain't going anywhere. So, eventually communications will be free when the Shkreli microwave transmitter comes. I mean, never mind. But regardless, hopefully we'll have more ease of communication. We don't have to pay these toll takers, but they do provide us with the ability to communicate. So there's a trade-off there. Yeah, Ken's saying it really smart. Ken knows what he's talking about there. Tesla always thought he could create all kinds of crazy technologies, but he did invent, right? What did he invent? Alternating current? As crazy as he was, he came through sometimes. Shkreli quantum communication network. Well, that sounds very expensive. So that's going to raise the costs of communicating. Their cash flow, I mean, this is kind of crazy. How has their cash flow grown so much? Does that make sense? This is free cash flow. Okay, that looks like a tech stock, right? That looks like a software company. Before interest payments, before termination of forwards, payer swaps at T-Mobile. I don't get that. Kind of incredible. Is it T-Mobile? So T-Mobile US, I guess, is their big asset. Do they consolidate it? Yeah, generalist investing is not easy. Even Buffett was kind of a specialist. Oh, I didn't know SoftBank owns 5% of Deutsche Telekom. Wonder if that's because, well, the government owns 28% of, roughly 28% of Deutsche Telekom. I agree with you, Robert. It allows you to go operate in those industries if you learn enough. Well, you're certainly making money, and the end outcome is the goal. So EBITDA, EV to EBITDA here is 7 times. That's pretty attractive. I mean, excluding Spectrum is a little shifty to me. Q1's supposed to be pretty good. Just because something happens historically doesn't mean it's going to happen again. You know, yesterday it rained. Does that mean today it's going to rain? The conditions that resulted in rain, barometer conditions, moisture or whatever, that stuff resulted in rain. But conditions today aren't right for rain.